8 o'clock.
It is now 8 o'clock. Where are your children? Are your children safe?
Probably out robbing a liquor store.
That'd be a welcome change of pace. I mean, now kids just sit inside and rob liquor stores on GTA 5.
Yeah,
about
that's
the,
true.
about the best you can get. I saw this one video. Dude's out in the street pretending to give out quests for like GTA style.
Yeah,
He's dressed in a nice black and white suit. He's trying to hire kids to go take care of his competition.
that's funny.
Gotta go take care of the competition. Hey, welcome back. We're
Good to
going
see you,
live.
homie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this will be the last show of 2022, and I wonder how many months into 2023 we're going to get before I realize I need to start saying 2023.
Kind of like when you write it on your paperwork and
Hmm.
you got to scratch it out because you put
Yeah, and
2022.
it's been getting even worse because, as you remember, last year I thought I was turning 39 for my birthday, but it turns out I was only turning 38.
I think I had to
So,
correct you on that one.
yeah, you and the kids. Everybody knew it but me, I guess. And yeah, so that was really interesting. So I'm not only losing the date and the year, I'm just like, I'm lucky to know what day of the week it is at this point because just things have become so chaotic and so over the top and ridiculous. So, hey, we got our old friend Puddin joining us. Thank you,
Hey,
ma'am.
good to be
Long
back.
time no see.
Yeah,
We're just here to give a little year in review
yeah.
about some of the big major events that's happened. I thought about maybe talking about some of the stuff that we did, but we didn't really do a lot. And
No,
nobody really cares about what we did,
no.
but they do want to hear what we said about, or what we have to say about everything else that happened, and just kind of seeing, when you were going over the notes
Yeah,
earlier, you mentioned Will Smith and the big slapathon or whatever you called it.
yeah. Chris
And I'm
Rock.
like,
Yeah,
I'm like, are you telling me that was this year?
that's
And
the
I'm like,
beginning of the year. Yeah,
there's no way that was this year.
seems like a decade ago,
It's
don't it?
I'm at least 2 years. At
Yeah,
least 2 years ago is what it feels like that
yeah.
would have been. And I'm just like, this is ridiculous. This year has been so fast moving, and it's like,
It's been an unusual year
yeah,
for
you
sure.
thought maybe this year would be a little bit slower than 2020 was, but no, everything just keeps
No,
continuously escalating, and it's like,
yeah.
holy shit, you don't need to slow down.
It was interesting because I was actually going online to find out what celebrities we had lost, throughout the year, and there's like 100 people that we've lost. More notably, like Gallagher was one of them, and then of course Coolio. That was something that, I thought about. Basically that's what we grew up listening to.
You did maybe. I
So
don't. I couldn't tell you anything Coolio sings, honestly.
Gangster Gangster's
Oh, that was
Paradise.
okay. See, I know
Yeah.
Amish Paradise. That's,
Well, Weird Al, yeah, Yankovic.
that's about,
But
I know all the words to that one.
no, it's interesting because it's like, I was kind of captivated by, I don't know if this is the right word to use, but by the death of Queen Elizabeth
Yeah.
and just the whole, the what do they call that? Where they change
Oh,
the
yeah.
going from queen to king or queen,
Yeah.
so
Secession or
yeah, something like that. Just
whatever.
seeing
I don't know.
how they do all of it because you got to think they haven't done it in 70 years.
Oh, yeah.
She's been the longest running, monarchy that Britain's ever
No, they
had.
probably had to go out and dust off the old paperwork, the pre-internet, how-to
Yeah.
guides for, what's the protocol for this? Who
I
gets
mean,
what?
yeah, but to think
I
that,
wonder. I wonder how many people in that family were sitting there going, "God dang it, lady, would you die already?"
right. So, I mean,
I mean,
so
there's
it
a lot
was,
of people in that we know just they're just waiting on their parents to die so they can get their inheritance. Or
I mean, you got to think her reign as monarchy probably sustained longer than most people live. 70 years is a long time.
oh yeah,
So
yeah,
to see so much of the world and see so much of, so much of it change,
right.
and you're still the queen of England, and I mean your face is on printed money and coins, and all that just changed, and it happened within our lifetime.
That's how you know.
So
That's how you know you've made it when your face gets printed on the dollar.
oh yeah, oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So
absolutely.
that was something for me that kind of stood out as far as what we had the chance to witness, and and just the kind of the process that goes into the changing of the monarchy from queen to a king. So yeah, that I mean that's not anything that's really relevant to us because we're not from the UK, but still it does
Yeah.
have an impact like it
I have a
did.
really hard time. Like, what's the word? We're forgetting a lot of words tonight. I have a really hard time. I don't know, getting it, I guess. I don't know if the
What do you mean?
right. Well, here's the thing. I don't tend to, I'm not a joiner. You know that about me. I'm always doing my own thing. I didn't know anything about anything that happened there. I knew she died.
I think for me,
That was the extent.
it's always been the history of the family, the
Yeah,
royal
yeah,
family. I
yeah,
mean, you're this is a family who dates back, hundreds of years.
yeah.
So there's a lot of history behind that, and that's what I've always been interested in. It's just the history of the monarchy.
Now, am I understanding this correctly? That they used to have a lot of power, but the
Yeah,
monarchy
not
really
anymore.
doesn't have
No,
power. They're just kind of a
no.
figurehead, a mascot, if you will. So
Yeah,
even
it's
it's like thinking about it that way. It's like, okay, if the mascot of my favorite sports team, which I don't have, if the mascot dies and has to give the head to the next person, like, am I going to give a crap? Not really. I don't know.
I think for the historical purposes is
Yeah.
what kind of drawed me into it
Yeah.
more than anything else. Um,
So, and I don't mean to
not
say you shouldn't give a crap about it. I'm just saying I have a hard time giving any two shits about it. That and things like, the Super Bowl when it comes around,
right
I don't find out it's the Super Bowl until I start seeing,
ads
people
and
people
people
griping,
posting
yeah,
about
people
it, and
posting about it. And
yeah,
they're the world was it the World Cup? Is that what that
the
was
World Cup that was recent
recently?
over in the Middle East. Yeah,
Yeah, I knew all about that day because I don't keep up with it. I
you
just
know that's the difference between
it
you and I. You're not one that follows sports. I do.
I don't know. And like
So
I figured you'd been there like watching every minute of it.
the World Cup, actually, I watched a little bit of the U.S.
Yeah.
games. I did watch the Argentina France the Cup final, which was fantastic. I mean, it went to two overtimes, and then it was decided in penalty kicks, and Argentina became victorious in that match. But if I were just to sit there and watch the Premier League over in UK, no, that's not.
Right.
I'm not going to do that. But something as large as the World Cup, I mean, soccer is predominantly, I mean, as they call it, football, is the sport of the world.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Oh,
mean,
I know it's huge.
yeah.
I fully recognize it. It's
So
just I just never got into those things, and as a result, I feel like I'm left out of those things. I don't know. I feel like there's something missing in me that
no, not
I'm not
really.
drawn
I
to that.
mean,
I don't care about sports, football, all those big things, like even like church and things like that. Like I
right.
don't. It's like all those community events. I'm perfectly happy just sitting at home
See,
by myself and just
right, and
digging.
diddling yourself, and yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's the diddling for me. It's like the diddling.
No, I was going to say that for me, sports has always been that that safe space for me when it comes to not having to deal with politics and social
Oh yeah,
issues,
yeah.
and then
Well,
when
up
everything
up
kind of spilled
until
over the
uh,
last couple of years,
right up until about 2020, and
they
then
were
all of a
trying
sudden,
to they were trying to push that during the World Cup as far as the whole gay pride thing.
yeah,
And of course, with it being over the Middle East, that's a no-no. And the teams were forbidden from wearing the armbands that said "One Love," and which when you go into another country,
right,
you got to respect whether you disagree with it or not. You still got to respect their way of life and their beliefs. The problem is, it's just like over there, and the same as over here. Over here, they're trying to shove it down your throat to be accepting of something you don't agree with.
pun intended.
They tried to do that over in the Middle East, and it didn't work out so well.
Yeah,
And that's the problem that we see with our society is they're constantly trying to push those boundaries, which is great, but again, it's just they're
yeah,
not
yeah.
America. They're not
You gotta
more
give them.
lenient towards those
You got to give them
things.
bonus points for trying. At least they gave it a shot.
Yeah, they
Any
gave it a
any
shot.
swing you
Yeah.
don't take is an automatic miss, right?
So Putin said, "Did either of you watch the Harry and Meghan Netflix that thing on Netflix?"
Yeah,
No, I
no,
did not. Only because I felt like that was more politically driven, and what she's talking about is the claims that Meghan said that that the family was very racist towards her,
right.
which I have really a hard time believing. Queen Elizabeth has always been very accepting of anybody who was coming to the castle and to be a part of that family. She didn't care too much for Diane back when she was alive, but she still cared about her.
Was Diane black?
No, Diane was white. She was the one that died in a
I was
car
just trying to
accident in
think. I'm
Paris.
just trying to
But
find the racist thread here.
yeah, I know. But the thing is, it was just it was all politically driven based off of the culture that's going on over here.
Right.
She was then trying to spill out over there in the UK, and it didn't work out. So the Netflix documentary, I believe, is what she's talking
Yeah,
about.
she
Is
says she didn't actually say that if you watch the episodes. Well, I
I didn't
probably
watch it,
won't be
but
watching them. No.
I just get the talking points from Fox and
Yeah.
CNN.
Oh Lord, here we go.
Hmm.
You know, I one thing I did learn this year recently was that you know how you know that big thing that you've been hearing about uh, with that Schwab company or whatever. Stop talking about in the future you will own nothing and be happy. Have you heard that repeated over and over again on Fox News?
Oh
You'll own nothing and you'll be happy.
no,
Um,
that's full of shit, anyways. But yeah,
yeah, well, I've been hearing it a lot, and that's kind of the basis for everybody freaking out about the World Economic Forum, you know, the depopulation and all that shit,
yeah,
and it was just very interesting. Is I've heard it, and I've always thought that that's really a thing they said. Excuse me, but I found out that that was never actually said at all. You can't find it; it doesn't exist. It's
right.
like, wait a minute, what did they actually say?
You know,
Um,
I
just
often
stuff like that is like so fascinating to
I
me.
don't know if this is really relevant, but you often hear people say that what is it? You don't have to money can't buy happiness.
Yeah.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit. You can be happy without money. Because let me tell you something. I was poor, living in my car. I was not happy.
Oh
I
yeah,
can't
yeah.
remember waking up in the back seat of my car thinking, "Ooh, today's a good day." You know, smile on my face and thankful I'm alive.
Well,
And
to be fair, you already had a pretty good mindset in general. Like you already were relatively, you know, before you started having some money to actually spend.
yeah.
I'm sure it enhances your happiness, but I don't think the money in itself is what's going to buy away your depression. If that's, I think that's what that
No,
statement
but
means. Is like if you're already depressed, if you're, you know, feeling anxiety, if you're, I don't think that they're saying money. I think what they're saying is money is not the answer to that particular problem.
no, because there's other things in life that can make you happy,
Yeah,
obviously.
certainly doesn't hurt, but
No, it doesn't hurt at all. But the one thing I've learned with having money is that I'm able to share that with others.
yeah,
You know, and give people the opportunity to experience things in life that necessarily they wouldn't have, you know, or the ability to do on a day-to-day basis. So rather than, you know, keeping those experiences tied just to me, I've always been one to like, look, if I'm going here, if I'm traveling here, go with me. You know, if I can pay for this or pay for that, I'll pay for it. You know, or if it's just you know, to I don't know, just to go anywhere and do anything that seems fun.
excellent.
You know, and I think that's the mentality that I kind of, you know, manifest over the years. Not so much about being selfish and making about me, but rather sharing in the things that I've worked hard for.
Yeah,
You know, because I'd
100%.
love to see other people happy, but I like the experience of those being with me and having a good time.
Right.
You know, and if I've got the money to do it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, that's
And but the thing
really
is,
cool to be able to do
but
that.
here's the thing: if I'm poor, I wouldn't be able to do that.
Right.
And it's not to
I
say
think
that you wouldn't love me any other
yeah, I think
way.
you would. You'd just be doing it differently. I think you'd just be finding different ways to do it that didn't cost
Yes,
nearly as much.
but let's be realistic here. There's some things of value that are so expensive that most average people wouldn't be, you
Oh
know,
yeah, yeah, for
or
sure.
would not have the opportunity to do to some
Yeah,
degree.
for sure, for
You
sure.
know, I mean, you look at people who make a lot of money, you know, such as like Elon Musk, you know, and the things that he's done for people,
Yeah.
you know, and it's just and that kind of okay, to give you an example, so there's a project between Elon Musk and this guy from I want to say he's from Japan. I cannot remember. But anyways, they started up a program called Dear Moon. Now he's an entrepreneur, the guy, I believe he's from Japan. I send you the article over in Discourse. This entrepreneur bought 11 seats on a Starship rocket to go around the moon and come back. He bought all 11 seats. So the 11 the 10 individuals that are going with him don't have to pay a dime. That's
Wow.
cool shit.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. You know, is he's giving everyday people who wouldn't necessarily have the chance or the opportunity to experience something like that. He's giving them that free ride to say, let's go to the moon. You know, I mean, obviously I wish I was one of them, but I'm not. But, you know, that's here nor there. But that's kind of what I was going back to with the whole situation of mentioning that, you know, if I have the money, I want to bring people along with me to enjoy those things in life. So, but I don't know if you can pronounce his name or not, but it's a pretty cool thing that they're going to do.
Yeah,
So,
I'm working on bringing it up. It's just not
right,
doing it. I'm not really sure why.
not cooperating,
Yeah. Are you sure? Yeah, yeah, I'm sure I want to go there. Bring it up, dude.
got to bring it up.
Screw it. We'll just type it in. Dear Moon.
Dear Moon.
Earth. So silly redhead in the comments. She says, "Why does Keith suck?" I assume she's referring to a comment I made on my friend's post where he's holding a vacuum up. That should answer the question. We've been doing puns for years. This is. I was surprised he didn't fire back with his own pun, because usually we get in these giant pun wars, and it's ridiculous.
Uh-oh.
He and I once in a car ride went through the entire 50 United States. And
Who did?
Keith and I, making all of them into puns.
No.
It was great. It was great.
Yeah, so here's the website that I was telling you about. It's called Dear Moon Crew, and the gentleman in the center, which I cannot pronounce his name, is the entrepreneur that bought all 11 seats for this mission to the moon and back.
Yeah.
And I thought this was just so cool. And if you start to go through and look at the people that he selected to go on this trip, they're very interesting characters. But the one that I'm very familiar with is Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut. I follow him over on YouTube. And the guy just basically, he brings, science, of space and exploration of the universe to people that normally wouldn't watch, something that he puts out there on YouTube. So, seeing these cast of characters going up there is pretty cool.
You know what this reminds me of? Back in the day when cell phones were first a thing, mobile devices and stuff, and if you were rich, you could only the rich could really afford one, right?
Right.
So what did you have to do? I mean, if you wanted to call your friends on it, you'd have to buy them one so they could actually be on the other end of the line to receive your call.
Right.
This is very similar. It's like a freaking super expensive seat on a rocket to go around the moon. And
but did you ever think we would live to see
that? And that's what people think about billionaires anyways. Oh, they're selfish. They're never. But then you sit there and see these guys sitting there. The one thing they do is want to share the wealth with all their friends, or people that he didn't even do it with just his closest friends and his inner circle. He sat there and what do you do? Put this thing out. I'm learning about this as we're discussing it. But went through and put out posts about it, looking for people to comply with him.
Yeah. And they selected everybody, and
that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So no, I thought that was a pretty interesting thing and something to look forward to in the future. But did you ever imagine we would be in a place in our society where space travel is now becoming a thing for regular, civilians, even though it's still expensive as fuck to do it?
I did. I imagined a day coming. A lot of my a lot of my flat Earth friends didn't, and still don't. Clearly, they're not actually going to be going around the moon. They're just going to be going into a CGI or not a VR machine that's got just screens to make it look like they're going to the moon. They're not actually going to the moon. It's actually just one of those, those machines at the mall you go into.
Yeah.
It's one of those.
It's
and it
like
feels
that,
really realistic.
What is it? The MetaQuest. What is it? The Oculus.
Yeah, whatever it is, and they can just charge shit tons of money, for that, because people actually think that that's what they're doing. Yeah.
Which should kind of follow up with that. Artemis 1. I know Daniel's not familiar with this, but Artemis 1 is a part of the NASA program that was dedicated to sending us back to the moon for future missions to actually land and then eventually build a base.
Right.
They had a successful flight with getting Orion around the moon and even further out into space, came back, landed or splashed down in the ocean, and it was successful. So now the next phase to that is actually sending astronauts up there in 2024. And then eventually, I think they're going to circle the moon. I don't think they're going to land on the moon until 2026. But the reason why I bring this up is because it's really interesting to see how Elon Musk has kickstarted the space program again with NASA.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing what he's done with this, with SpaceX, as far as, they had 60 launches this year. SpaceX did, which was the most the company has ever done.
That's insane.
So you're averaging more than one rocket a week. That's wild.
Yeah, with the government, we're talking about one every 60 years.
Right.
And
so
in private markets, we're talking about 60 in 1 year.
Right. So, I mean, to see that.
I wonder if there's a pattern developing.
Yeah. So, and then, which kind of segues into the next conversation piece, is obviously the big turn of events of 2022, which was Elon Musk dumping millions of dollars into Twitter.
Billions.
I don't know why I said millions.
44 of them.
44 billion. I saw where he has actually lost, what was it, $116 billion this year alone, which we all know tax loopholes he's going to get.
Oh, for sure.
So, but the fact that he spent that much money to expose everything that he has, do you think it was worth it for him to dump that much money into Twitter?
He seems to be enjoying it, so I would say sure.
But I mean, as
I mean
far as the
that's
stance
just that's just another
of what we're
another
learning,
yeah, it's another. Is that a point toward yours or a point toward mine about whether money buys happiness or not?
I think that's more for him. I think he was happy.
Did he buy himself some happiness with that?
I think he bought it for happiness, but then I also think that he bought it for goodwill.
Yeah.
He saw that, things were actually going wrong
Yeah.
with the platform that he thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah, I love Goodwill. I just shopped there the other day.
Yeah. He exposed a lot of corruption, which we all knew was going on. I mean,
Right.
come on, let's be honest here. And then of course the left was calling us conspiracy theorists for all these years. Now it's like you're checking off the truth box
Yeah.
next to all those conspiracy
I can't
theories
tell you
that
how
we
many
came
times
out
I've
with.
tweeted validated.
Right. So
every time something comes out, you're like, I've been validated again.
But for those on the right, we're being validated. For those on the left, they're hating life. They're hating the
No, they're not.
social
No, they're
life.
not. No, they're not. Not at all.
And
They're not hating it at all. What's going? You know what's going on, don't you? On the
What?
left,
What?
all the big major left-wing commentators. Have you listened to any of them by chance?
Not anymore. No.
Oh well, say guys like David Pakman just did a piece on his show today. It was yesterday's show, I think. Anyway, it was like maybe 3 minutes worth of his show dedicated to this particular topic, discussing how this is basically just a big nothing burger. Back in the he said something like back in the day when Twitter was blocking accounts and whatnot, the right wing was all for it because they're a private company and they can do whatever they want, and they can they don't have, they're not held to the same standard as the U.S. government is as far as the freedom of speech, and and then all of a sudden now these Twitter files are coming out. Now they're not a private company all of a sudden, and now they don't have the right to block. But it's interesting the way that he's completely missing the point, and this is a very common way of framing on the left that I keep hearing a lot. And all they keep saying is, oh, well, these guys were prevented from showing these naked pictures of Hunter Biden on Twitter. It violated Twitter's service. They were shutting it down.
Right.
And that's where the story ends for them. Okay, they just think this is a big nothing burger. They literally keep calling it a nothing burger. And they're just acting like, well, the reason why this is such a big deal on the right is because they want to be able to post Hunter Biden's naked dong all over Twitter. Like, no, that's not even... That's just one of many things that was like, it was such a big, huge straw man, but they're treating it like it's nothing. Like, oh, this is no big deal. Like,
well, what I find that is interesting is a lot of the journalists that he's given the information to on the Twitter files have usually been left leaning, more centric. But it just goes to show
former Democrats,
right?
Stuff,
we're still very much liberals, but. Barry Weiss being one of them, and many others,
which is great because I was already listening to Barry Weiss's podcast a long time ago. When it first launched, and I heard some of the stuff she was saying. I'm like, okay, I like hearing the conversations this way. She does a great job actually, kind of giving airtime to both sides of an argument and allowing them to have the discussions, kind of like what we like to do.
Right.
But so when he gave it to her for part of that, I was like, oh, this is cool. I see where this is going.
Right.
It's cool.
Yeah, I
dang it.
I mean, but you also got to look at it as a situation as a lot of us wondered what was going on with Twitter during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
What was actually being suppressed? What was being, deemed as, misinformation, things of that nature. So now that this is all kind of dropped, again, it's further proof that, everything we've been saying all along. And I found there was a meme that Elon Musk had posted, and it showed this guy that had like all these different what was it, gay pride stuff and all the social media stuff on their clothes, and and just the crazy hair, the piercings, and then you got this person over here with nothing on them except for American flag, and and they're like,
oh yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
but that's a perfect description of where our society is right now. And then there was another one where there was a basketball cheerleader that was thrusting into the crowd, or at oh God, what's his name? He's a late night talk show host. I can't remember his name, but anyways, it just shows the mainstream media, like all the different outlets, and then it shows Twitter on the girl that's thrusting at him, and it's just like they just keep ignoring it. It's hilarious. Yeah, they brainwashed you. Look at all the jabs. I mean, it's hilarious. Just that right there. That tells you what America looks like. And honestly, that's a perfect description of
Yeah.
everything we've gone through over the last couple of years.
The little really is just perfect, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's just you don't get any better than that. I mean, it's just
You ever try to tell somebody that they're brainwashed?
no.
Yeah,
I gave up on that because it's
instantly they're just like, no, I'm not.
well, they'll
You
just say
are.
that you're racist.
Yeah, I know you're. I know I'm not. Or I
You're
know I am.
racist, bigot, homophobic, whatever the term of the week is for them that they feel compelled to tell you that you are.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that stuff, like when we do the show and we get called that, it washes right off of me because there's no actually legitimate source to back up their claims.
Yeah,
it's just like being back in grade school and somebody calling you a name.
Yeah.
It's just like,
yeah,
dude, I'm fucking 41 years old. This shit doesn't bother me.
I brought up that
Keep
meme.
going.
I brought up that meme. That is.
Oh yeah. Jimmy Fallon. That's who it was.
That is. Well, it's they have the for those just listening. It's just that.
The Twitter files. That's funny.
There's this really hot looking cheerleader labeled Twitter files, and this dude's over here like trying desperately not to look at it. And it's the NBC, CNN, BBC, etc., etc. All these news organizations that are just completely ignoring it.
So I don't know.
But
So
I can't wait to see what happens here. There's a reason they're ignoring it, and there's a reason they're ignoring it. I have a feeling. I have a very big feeling here shortly in, excuse me, a future drop. You're going to see the media's mainstream media companies being implicated in what was going on. I'm waiting to see that. All these companies that claim to be all about truth and whatnot, and you're just going to see their role in all this as well. I know it's coming, and they're trying like crazy not to incriminate themselves.
What was CNN's what was their catchphrase? The most trusted news source or something like that? Is that
yeah. Most trusted name in news.
Or yeah,
and then what was the other one? Democracy dies in darkness.
Yeah, so that's going to be interesting. Which kind of brings me into something else that happened this year. That's going to roll over for the next 2 years until the 2024 election is, of course, Trump announcing that he's going to run again. This was completely, I was not surprised. I've been very critical of Trump over the last couple of weeks, if not months, because of, his personality, his character.
Yeah.
To me, it was a little too early for him to launch his, campaign to say, hey, I'm running for 2024. I think people are going to get burned out with Trump, and Trump is going to give the media enough resources and enough content to really spin things they want to, so I feel like he kind of shot himself in the foot with this one. I think he did this prematurely. He should have waited, and he didn't do it. Yeah. So I don't know. This is going to be an interesting 2024.
I think I'm theorizing, of course. I think part of the reason he's doing that right now is so that he can kind of avoid prosecution. I think there's some kind of rule that says that while you're running for office or whatever like that, they can't.
Yeah. Of course, you got the January 6th committee that kind of did their wrap up thing.
Yeah, so it kind of at least protects him for the next couple of years, at least, I guess, maybe. I don't know.
I know is that I'm not particularly a fan of Trump anymore. I thought his policies when he was in office were great, but the way things are in the world right now,
yeah.
I mean, I get his attitude. I get where he's coming from and why he is who he is, and that's why a lot of people are drawn to him.
Yeah.
But that's not going to win you another election, in my opinion. He's got to take a step back, and he's got to really focus on just beating Biden. He's got to focus on getting back in office.
Yeah, and maybe not taking jabs at
DeSantis. That is not a way you want to go, because if you're talking future, candidate for presidency after Trump, you want to make sure you set yourself up, in a position to keep Republicans in office, not doing the crap he's doing right now. It's not. Right. The Republicans actually really disappointed me during the midterms. They should have done a lot better. And they were given the roadmap, and they were given, basically the blueprint of what to do based off of what Ron DeSantis has done in Florida. And had those other Republicans followed suit, I think there would have been a bigger turnout. Look what he did with Florida during COVID compared to what, Newsom did over there, over in California.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just a lot of variables that the Republicans need to take into consideration if they plan on taking the House, which they did, but the Senate, they did not. And they could have. Now, the Herschel Walker runoff, I kind of knew which way that was going to go, but I think what happened is I don't think enough Republicans got behind Herschel Walker for the state of Georgia. And I honestly think that really hurted him. But as far as going into 2024, the Republicans don't need the end party fighting going on. That's just not going to win them 2024, even the midterms.
Yeah.
I get that's part of politics, is slinging mud at each other, but we're kind of past that at this point. We've got to take control of both the Senate, the House, and of course the White House.
And I hate to say it, man. Until we have some kind of ranked choice voting scenario, where a ranked choice voting where people can rank what order they want to vote in. Until we have some scenario like that, you're going to have the same thing play out over and over again. You know, just as soon as Donald Trump decides to run as an independent or something, all that's going to do is divide up the Republican Party. And now, instead of having basically a neck and neck 50-50 race between Republicans and Democrats, you're going to have 25-25, 50, and then automatically Democrats are going to win the next decade.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I mean, like I said before, I'd actually made a post on social media about this. If Trump would just chill out and not go after, other politicians, especially within your own party. I mean, again, I get the mudslinging, but that's just there's some candidates you don't want to do that to for obvious reasons, such as DeSantis, because you got to think long term. But anyways, going back to
unless he's trying to intentionally sabotage.
Well, people keep telling me that it was manufactured between, DeSantis's party and Trump's party, which doesn't make any logical sense to me. You don't want to divide the Republican Party, because Trump has a strong base. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you want to do that? That doesn't seem a smart way to go going into the 24, election period. It just does not make a hill of beans sense to me whatsoever.
Unless it was for the clicks and the attention. I don't know.
But you got 2 years.
So it's real early to tell. I don't know what the heck's going on. I don't really care.
So anyways,
too much too soon, too early.
Trump, announcing his nomination was in the headlines for just a few weeks, and then it kind of dissipated, which it will for a while, unless he does something really stupid. And of course, the mainstream media is going to bounce all over that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as far as other other things that have happened throughout the year.
Hey, what's that guy here lately was lying about being Jew, and he's a gay, he's another gay politician. He's a Republican, I guess. Talks about being Jew and whatnot. What's his damn name? I've been hearing all about it.
I don't think I've heard about.
Yeah, he's claiming he's got this work history that he was working with Goldman Sachs and everything, but that turned out to be a lie. He's not actually Jew. He said he's Jewish, but then when asked about it and pressed on it, he said, "Well, I was saying I was Jewish. My parents are this." I'm like, that is so. I mean, that is
what the hell is Jewish?
That is the level of lie I would have told when I was like 4, man. I'm like, holy shit. But then listening to Jimmy Dore's latest episode, oh my god, it was freaking hilarious. He put all this dude's lies up against Joe Biden's lies, and they're like, this guy is going to make the presidency. This guy's got what it takes, because as Tulsi Gabbard is sitting there drilling this dude on and on and on about all these different lies he's telling, he's just like stone-faced. He's like not breaking character at all. He's just like got a reason, got an excuse for everything. I'm like, holy crap, this is ridiculous. I can't even remember what his name is. Like, not Santos or Soros. Isn't it with Soros or something like that?
I don't know.
Yeah, he recently got voted into office for the House or Senate. I don't freaking know. But anyway, it's just hilarious hearing what they're saying. They're putting it right up against when back in the day when Joe Biden's like, yeah, I graduated third of my class and this and that from this, and then the news anchor's like, it turns out he didn't graduate third of class. He was actually like 186th. He didn't even go to that school. And then the latest story that he was telling about some guy getting a Purple Heart and whatnot, and he goes through and talks about all the lies. So it turns out that wasn't even the right war, wasn't even the right rank. His brother died the years before that, or it's like debunks it all in a list format. This is ridiculous. Yeah. So yeah, whoever that guy is, I know his face but not his name.
Yeah, I don't know.
I keep hearing about it, and I don't know his face because I only listen on podcasts. I get all my news through audio format. So I know I could, if you told me his name, I'd know it, and it's driving me nuts. But it's okay. The point is, they kept joking around that this dude's going to be the next president because he lies so well. And then what's funny is I sit there and posted some stuff on I made a meme showing what's his name from damn, words hard today, names very hard today. Zelensky, Ukraine. I made a meme where, you know, they were holding up the Ukrainian flag in Congress. Well, I made the flag look like a giant $45 billion check, like from the Publishers Clearinghouse. Like they were giving him that. I post this over there in Reddit. That was my first mistake. Everybody was like, just hated it. Like,
oh yeah, that's when you know you're doing something right.
Yeah. Reddit is a left-wing cesspool. It's ridiculous.
Always
it's like,
has been.
It's like, why are you guys like for this? It's ridiculous. Automatically, I was a Putin puppet, and I was just I loved everything.
You're a Russian
I'm like, I don't give a shit about either one of them. I just like, stop giving our money over there. Well, that money was going to go to the military anyway, so it needed to go over there and create jobs and all the money. I'm like, what? The left is talking about the military-industrial complex's need for money right now? What? When did this happen? When the fuck did this happen? Excuse me. Next year, we're going to try to curse a little less. Just
yeah, they don't want to drop a dime over here on our own military defense spending bill at all.
Oh my God. I was like, since when did like the left become a bunch of war hawks? Like,
I know, right?
This is ridiculous.
I just
I remember all through the 90s and the early 2000s, like if you were on the left, you were all about peace and love and, you know, make love, not war, you know, and all that good. Like, what happened? Why are we all of a sudden?
Yeah, I don't know about that one, but that kind of, you know, the Ukraine war started up back in, I think, what was it, February, is when it kicked off. And
was that this year?
Yeah, it was this year.
That was also this year.
Oh
my God, everything just it's been flying so. Oh.
Here's the thing.
We had 6 years of things happen all in 1 year. Like,
this is gonna sound probably. I don't know. Take it for what it is.
Do you want to wait until we're not going live so you can think this through?
I don't really care what goes on over in Russia and the whole situation with Ukraine. It's had no bearing on my life.
Yeah, I don't care either.
I mean, I hate that people are losing their lives. You know, that's obviously a shitty thing, but again,
it's you can't trust anything's going on over there anyway. I mean,
I
recently saw a video. I recently saw a video, apparently, of a bunch of Russian soldiers going into a Ukrainian's house, and there's a giant Nazi flag hanging on the wall, and some like a shrine to freaking Hitler. Is like,
right.
Like really? That I mean, how hard would that be to fake it? You have no idea whether that stuff is real or not. Like,
you know, what I thought was interesting was that, and the reasons why I tell you I'm not really involved with the Ukraine war, you know, and it doesn't really matter to me much, is because it does not have a bearing on my life in a sense of when I wake up every single day, Ukraine and Russia is not on my mind. That's not the first thing.
Really?
You can still feel empathy for people that are perishing in wars, but it doesn't have that, you know, it kind of reminds me of the conversation we had about the school shootings in different states. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And, you know, when it hits close to home, that's when it does affect you because it's within your own community, you know, and this kind of falls in that same category as what we discussed before. I'm not being insensitive to the situation. I'm just basically telling people for what it is, you know. Should the war be going on? Obviously not, you know. Do I know the ins and outs and the actual reasons behind the war? No, I do not. Will anybody ever know the real legitimate reasons behind the war? Probably not. Mm-hmm. What I found interesting was the only thing that really caught my attention about this war was the fact that we got a basketball player from the WNBA back from Russia for a known arms dealer from Russia. How does that work?
I don't know.
How do we trade a WNBA player who was going to be serving time over in Russia prisons for, you know, bringing illegal drugs into the country? How did we end up giving up a arms dealer, a known Russian arms dealer?
Let me put this into perspective for you. We'll take it. We'll take it out. Maybe the 30,000 foot view. Okay. Think about it this way. All right. So when something happens in your life, something terrible, like your child gets cancer and there's nothing you do about it, and you're praying to God and God's not, and the kid ends up dying, right?
Right.
Most people say, well, that was just part of God's plan.
Yeah.
You know, you just got to, like, you know, he knows what's right and wrong. He knows, you know, or whatever. Some evil happens in the world and God doesn't stop it and lets it happen. You got to think about it this way. The government is God in this case. you know, when you just got to think, this is God's plan, the government's plan. from the 30,000-foot view. It may not make sense to you, but there's obviously some smoky back room somewhere where they sat there and talked about this, and they figured out that that was the best trade they could make. Got to leave the naval officer over there, or whatever, the marine over there.
Yeah.
Leave him over there. He's fine. He'll be okay. He's getting information or something. We don't know that. There's some other information we're not privy to, right? So that's what's going. I'm just kidding. I'm totally.
No, I just there's
Damn.
again any kind of conflict that goes on in the world. The Russian-Ukraine conflict obviously has been in the headlines for months. Okay.
Yeah.
There are other wars, civil wars that have been raging a lot longer than most of us have even been alive.
Yeah.
And
for some reason,
Palestinians
we're not
and
meddling in
Israel
those.
and then you got Syria. You've got things that have been going on for decades. And obviously this is the new one now. Obviously this is the biggest war they've had since World War II over in Europe, which I understand.
Right.
But there's so many different dynamics to this war that I have no interest in even wanting to understand or learn. And again,
it's interesting the amount of people who think that this war suddenly started when Putin attacked Ukraine. They think that is the beginning of the story. Just out of nowhere, Ukraine's just sitting over here minding their own business. They're drinking vodka with their friends, or whatever. And all of a sudden, just mean old Putin comes in. Mean old Putin comes in and just starts throwing around this kid's toys. That's like, there's not.
There's always a backstory to every situation that goes on. Is it an excuse for Russia to invade Ukraine? Probably not.
Probably not. Not for us to decide. I mean, that's not our business.
It's not our war. It's So I'm over here thinking we've got our own problems over here in the States.
But Anthony, if we don't intervene, like nuclears and stuff.
Oh God.
Bro, look, we have to intervene because he's gonna nuke us and shit.
We've got caravans of undocumented people coming in through the southern border, which this administration is not giving it a lick of attention whatsoever. But they're willing to give the attention of a war that's going on halfway around the world more attention than the crisis that's currently going on at our border. I mean, am I to understand that correctly? Like, you need to focus on what's going on in your backyard, and that's not what's going on across the street. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's where a part of me feels so strongly about not getting interested in the Ukraine war.
Yeah,
it's this doesn't do anything for me. What does affect me is what's going on at the southern border, and what that could do to states in the South. I do like the fact that they're getting shipped all over the U.S. now to apparently sanctuary cities. I think it's hilarious. But again,
Anthony, that's immoral, but you shouldn't do that.
But we have our own things that we need to handle. You know what I'm saying? And again, and it's not to say that I'm not for or against the Ukraine war. I just want us to kind of redirect our attention to our backyard, and let's work on the things that we need to get done. I mean, infrastructures and our school systems. I mean, there's a huge teacher shortage that's going on right now. Has anybody even really paid attention to that? I mean, those are things that matter here, not over there.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's so much like, think about this in your own life, man. How many people sit there and want to tell everybody else how they should live their lives, but then you go walk in their house and it's in complete disarray. Like that's just a micro version of what we're talking about. The United States is like, well, it's too difficult to deal with what we have over here, so let's go freaking, throw rocks in somebody else's backyard for a little while.
I feel like, that's what it kind of feels like. It feels like you're seeing a fight in Walmart and you decide to interject yourself because you feel like you're compelled to do it.
Yeah.
Well, no, it depends.
Yeah, it's almost like I'm driving by my neighbor's house down the road and I see them out there fighting with each other, and I'm like, I just feel like I have to get involved. Because if I don't get involved, one of them's going to nuke my house. My house is going to catch on fire in the next couple of days if I don't go and intervene. Like, I have to get, dude, what the hell? Like, meanwhile, my house is actually on fire because of something that I did.
Right.
But I'm not dealing with it. I'm too busy down there meddling with the other neighbors down the road.
Yeah, the U.S. needs to mind their business, and I understand that there's politics that are tied all into this, and that's the problem. That's the first problem to begin with. But yeah, no, I would like to see, hopefully in the future, we'll ever get to a point where we kind of redirect our focus back to our own country. and our own set of problems that we need to handle here first, and kind of move from there. So
well, it's not going to happen.
I know
It's not going to happen until we're forced to do so.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of what happened with Trump. You know, Trump, when he was elected the first term in 2016, it was, you know, he made the U.S. an obligation. He put the U.S. first.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that I really loved about his presidency for the short 4 years that he was in office.
Unacceptable.
And, you know, he did put America first, in my opinion, but you know, it just seems like the Democrats are so concerned about pleasing other countries just to get either a vote or some kind of spending bill. So I don't know. But speaking of the Democrats, and going back to the money situation. So for those of you that are not familiar, or you might be familiar with cryptocurrency right now, FTX was an exchange program. It was the third largest here in the, I don't know if it was the U.S. or in the world, but it was the third largest.
Yeah.
On November 11th, filed for bankruptcy. Yeah, this came after a surge of customers withdrawals earlier in the month. Then the CEO Bankman Fried admit that the company did not have the sufficient assets in reserve to meet the customers' demand. The company's evaluation plunged from 32 billion to bankruptcy in a matter of days, dragging down the founder and the CEO. 16 billion net worth to zero. That happened in a matter of days. $16 billion gone. You have everybody from normal citizens to celebrities that were invested into FTX that are now suing the man. One of the reasons why I bring this up, for one, it's big in the crypto news, in the crypto world, if you're in that sphere that we're in. But then it's also important to understand too that the CEO of the company, Bankman, had a lot of close relationships with Democrats.
Yeah.
A lot. He spent a lot of money endorsing these candidates. I don't know how many people are aware of that, and if they weren't, they obviously are now. But it's kind of put a black eye on cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency was doing well back 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago. You and I were talking about it. We were, investing and so forth. But we also understand that there's a bit of a bear market going on right now, recession. And
a bit of one.
A bit of one. That's Democrats' talking point.
Yeah.
But then we also kind of go through what's called, a bear winter, or a crypto winter, which is currently what we're going through.
Right.
I get this question asked all the time. Will cryptocurrency bounce back? Yes, it will. Will it go back up to $69,000 in Bitcoin? Probably not.
Are you worried?
No, I'm actually spending more money right now than I ever have investing, because I know eventually at some point it'll go back up. What I mean is that in the sense of, do I think it's going to go back to 69,000 for Bitcoin? No, I do not. If it goes up to even so much as $40,000, I will have doubled my profits, because as we all know, Bitcoin is a driving force, is the gatekeeper of all crypto.
If we're just basing it on past track records, it's definitely going above 69,000.
But I'm not even looking at 69,000.
You don't have to try to.
I don't look at 69,000.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it, because I've been through this already back during the times of Mt. Gox. I don't know if you're familiar with that. That was before you even started. Back then, Mt. Gox was like a Magic the Gathering card exchange that then turned into an exchange for crypto, basically. And what happened is, all of a sudden they got hacked, lost millions of dollars. Back then we weren't talking billions, or how much did you say?
16 billion is what he lost.
16 billion. Yeah, he lost. But back then, that was a pretty considerable hit to the crypto industry, right?
Yeah.
Well, we learned our lessons from that.
Right.
We the technology developed further, and we were able to, and that hasn't happened since, at least that particular avenue of attack.
Right.
It's new technology. Of course, there's going to be avenues of attack. You just have to be very cautious about it. And you have to be, obviously, if they're not your keys, it's not your crypto. That's something that everybody needs to freaking understand. If everybody who was involved in this FTX bullshit would have had their own money in their own wallets with their own private keys, they wouldn't be even worried about it.
No.
Even in the least.
No.
But what I think happened here is they were making big promises. People's greed was getting ahead of them. And honestly, I don't feel bad for any of the people that put their money in it and lost it. I don't feel bad about it. They knew what they were getting into when they got into it. If they didn't, that was their fault.
Right.
If they did, and they invested more than they should have, that's their fault. 100%. It's all that goes back to the people's fault. Did they do their due diligence and find out, anything about this company or how it came up? Or no, they didn't. Again, their fault. I don't feel bad about a single person who lost money in this
No.
whole FTX thing. I don't feel bad about it. You know how much money I lost in all this? Nothing.
Zero.
Nothing. I haven't lost
Yeah.
anything. I
Because we
still
haven't
have
put anything out.
I still have my crypto. I haven't put it in any unreputable organizations. You know, I have some in certain areas and I have
Right.
others in certain areas. I have it diversified. I have it spread out so that if one of these companies does go down, I may lose a little,
Right.
but you know, I'm not gonna lose the bank, and I'm not gonna feel like I have to commit suicide because I've lost all my money. You know.
Well, and I often get asked, you know, how come you didn't invest in FTX back when it was hot? Well, here's the thing I've learned about crypto. When crypto was in its bubble, or as it was starting to mature, because you have to understand, crypto is still in infancy. It's not developed into where we want it to go
Right.
or want it to be.
Right.
It's still developing. Countries are still trying to see if it's possible.
We're still talking
to make it a
early
currency.
90s flashy web pages here.
Right. So
where everything kind of doesn't work very well.
So what happened is crypto turned into a trend. It turned into the next big thing.
Yeah. Yep.
Everybody got on board. Everybody bought in on the high end.
That's what happened on the lead up to 20,000.
Right.
When Bitcoin first hit 20K.
Right.
And then immediately plummeted back down to 3.
Right. So what people need to understand is that there's a lot of people that are now discouraged by crypto because of what happened with FTX.
Good.
That keeps you out of this keeps you out.
Yeah.
I don't want you a part of it because you're going to be the reason as to why shit like this happens.
Yeah.
And the next Moshmo that comes along is going to take you for your money and take it to to the cleaners. The one thing I do like about what happened with FTX is it's a learning curve. Okay. Mm-hmm. Meaning that we're starting to weed out the ones that, okay, let's take a moment here and figure out, who is this person? We got to start asking questions.
Yeah.
And we've told people that throughout our show for the last 2 years when we've talked crypto.
Yeah.
You have to do your due diligence and find out who these people are, what they're invested in, how they're managing their money, who's on their board of directors.
Yeah. What are some of their past projects?
Right. So I mean, but here's the thing though. What's not to say that, Coinbase.com or Coinbase or crypto.com or Binance or some of these other platforms don't have the same thing happen.
100%. You're right.
It's a possibility.
Yeah, that's why you need to have
your own set of keys.
Possession of it. Yeah.
Right. So
I mean, if you have
to be careful.
A lot of folks, if they have some on the exchanges, that's fine. You keep it there for quick access to it, but you don't keep the largest bulk of your wealth.
No.
On
you don't put all your eggs
exchange.
You don't put most of your eggs.
I'm not going to go to a Korean money exchange, and just drop all my USD there.
No.
I'm just not, because there's no telling. It's just stupid. It's just completely stupid.
So what I've been telling people right now is the 3 most trusted platforms, in my opinion, today.
Yeah.
Crypto.com, Coinbase, Binance.
Yeah.
Those are your top 3.
And I don't like messing with Coinbase.
We
discussed that in the past.
Right. But if you were to ask me which 3 would I put my money into as far as, platforms.
I'd like to add KuCoin to that list.
Yeah, I mean, you can add KuCoin.
I've been dealing with KuCoin for years now.
I mean, you got Webull, and you got a few others that you can, you kind of dabble in. But for me, those are my top 3.
Yeah.
When people ask me, okay, what trading platform do you have your money on? Well, those are the top 3. Now, here's the thing. Right now, when I tell people, don't let FTX discourage you investing in crypto. You can still make money off of cryptocurrency, or you can look at that as a short-term sell, turn around to make a little bit, quick buck, whatever. That's fine.
But you got to understand this stuff, You
have to understand it. You have to take the time.
And you don't need to know how to write, blockchain code. I'm not talking that level of understanding, but one of the core tenets of Bitcoin to begin with was the fact that it's trustless, that's decentralized, that you don't have anybody you have
nobody
to trust.
has control of it.
Yeah, you didn't have anybody that you had to trust to do the right thing with your money.
Right.
So all these people that are putting their money in the hands of Sam Bankman-Fried, like you're asking for trouble. You're going against.
You're giving him the keys to your wallet.
The entire purpose of Bitcoin, the entire purpose of this technology is basically defeated the moment you give it to somebody else that you can put a name on.
Yeah.
So maybe put a little. Sure, why not? But know that there's a possibility you could lose that money. Know that there are bad players.
Yeah.
And that's what regulation is supposed to protect people from. But I like it better this way. Yeah. Yes, there is major hits to the industry, but it's major learning opportunities too.
Yeah.
How many companies are looking at this guy's example and going, "Oh boy, if we don't hurry up and get our ducks in a row, we could be next."
Well, and
that's not, we got to build our we have to be able to build our technology in such a way that people who are concerned about what happened with FTX isn't going to happen with us.
Right.
Like, we're not FTX, and here's why. They got to be able to communicate that.
Yes, and of course that all falls back to taking this as a learning opportunity to not be that company that ends up in this situation. You have to tell people, you have to share the information, kind of like BlockFi. BlockFi is where I keep a little bit of my crypto because of the yield that I can make off of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't put all my crypto there. My crypto is kind of dispersed everywhere. There's no central location for me to keep all my crypto, because if something were to happen, either Coinbase or Binance or crypto.com,
yeah,
I don't want to be in a situation where I'm completely out of all my money.
Right.
Now, what I tell people right now that are kind of on the fence about, still investing in crypto after FTX, is a situation that it was very unfortunate that people lost millions, but I don't feel bad for those who did, because they didn't do their due diligence. What I tell people is this should be a learning opportunity for you to look at the exchanges that you're going to start investing your money into as far as what crypto you buy. You got to ask questions. You got to do some research. You got to keep on top of the news of what's going on. Even then, that's not even going to protect you from your crypto being lost to some schmuck that decides to do what Friedman did. All I'm saying is the trusted names that I just gave you, those three, those are the ones that you should. I don't want to do that. I shouldn't say you should. Do your homework, do your research. You figure out what three platforms that you want to put your money on that exchange to make your money, or to hold it there.
Yeah.
I personally, the bulk of my money, I have the keys to my own accounts. Nobody else has my keys. Now, as far as money that I move around and that I trade and that I buy and sell and all that, yeah, that's different. But
that's what they call hot storage,
right,
versus cold storage, which is more like a Trezor or some kind of a device that you keep it on.
Yes, and I'm constantly moving my crypto. I'm constantly moving my money. My money does not stay put for more than probably 3 weeks at tops.
Yeah.
I'm constantly moving it around. I'm very active on crypto. But what I'm saying is right now, if you're on the fence about whether you should invest in crypto or not after FTX, yes, you should. And the reason why I say that is because right now crypto is at levels it has not seen since 2016, 2017.
You may not ever see again.
You may never see again. Now, am I going to sit here and say, well, crypto is going to get back up, or Bitcoin's going to hit another 69,000 high? Not anytime soon. And what I want people to understand is if you invest right now, say right now crypto.com is at 6 cents. Okay, throw $500 into it. Because I guarantee you, when Bitcoin starts to drive up, even if it hits $40,000, it's going to drive everything else up with it. We know it's the gatekeeper. Okay. So you got crypto.com at 6 cents, $500 worth. All of a sudden, you're at, 60 cents. You've made a substantial amount of money. I mean, not anything that's going to, let you retire from, but obviously you've made some money. And that's what I'm saying is now is a good time more than ever to get into crypto. Because trust me, I wish I was in the same spot years ago that you were in. And now I tell people, don't put all your money into one crypto. Spread it out. A little bit of Ethereum.
Yeah. Not into one crypto, and also not into one crypto exchange.
Correct. That's what I often tell people. Spread this out. Spread your wealth. Decentraland got up to over $5, back in 2020. And now it's like I think last time I seen it, it was at 40 something cents. Like, I've been buying the hell out of Decentraland because I know what it's capable of doing.
Yeah.
Same with crypto.com. Crypto.com has the naming rights to what used to be formerly the Staples Center out in LA. And if you watch any of the World Cup, everywhere you looked, it was crypto.com. So they're heavily invested in trying to get their platform out there. To me, it's just, don't be afraid, be careful with how much you decide to invest. Invest only what you're willing to lose. If it's $5, just put $5 in.
Yeah. For sure.
I am not a financial advisor by any means, but this is something that you and I have had growing pains with you more so than me. But, I can remember there was a text conversation between you and I where I was freaking out when crypto started to fall. Back when it was around $54,000.
You're like, dude, I think I done messed up.
And I was like, now understand, here's what, okay, if people want to feel better about crypto, and I'm going to shed some light onto my personal finances, because I don't mind sharing what I have tied up in crypto. I invested $25,000 into crypto. Okay. This was back when most everything was either in between or a little lower than where it, or not, I'm sorry, it was a little lower than, say, probably around the 47,000 mark where Bitcoin was. Ethereum at the time was around $2,300. Okay. There were other things that were going on that I decided to invest my money into that I knew had the potential of doing well and ended up, performing very well. Okay. I took out all my profit, but yet I kept everything that I originally invested in during that time still in there. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So as of right now, I'm probably sitting, I'd have to go back and look at my account, but as of right now, I invested originally $25,000. I think I'm sitting right around 13,000.
Yeah.
Is how far mine has dropped. Have I lost that much money? No, because it's still in there.
Yeah.
The prices just have to
if
get
you were
back
to
up.
if you were to like
If I were to pull it out,
convert it back into
yes.
US dollar.
If I were to pull everything out right now, $13,000 is probably where I'm looking at. I haven't checked it in the last.
Yeah,
couple
even
days.
even some of the terminology you're using is still sounds very much like you're tied to the old way of thinking
Right.
financially.
Right.
Like saying pulling it out, meaning I'm going to just put it back. You just mean I'm going to convert it back into dollars or purchase dollars.
Yes,
is what you're meaning, but it's not really pulling it out per se.
It's selling my crypto
more
assets.
like what you're trying to do right now is just stack sats is what they keep calling it, where you're just,
Right.
Like you said, $5 here, $5 there, buy a few sats, which sats is the smallest possible unit of a Bitcoin you can buy.
Yeah, and for me, it's just like, and I don't mind sharing my personal information, only because I feel like people need a little bit of reassurance to know that, even someone such as myself who's invested 25 grand into crypto is sitting in the negative. I mean, I'm deep in, but I'm not pulling out my crypto.
You're not panicking.
No.
Yeah.
Because I do know that
you did your homework.
Right.
Your comfort in the fact that you know what you're getting yourself into.
But here's the thing, though, is currently right now, even though I'm down to $13,000, I'm still investing.
Yeah.
Because what's going to happen is the levels in which and where I'm at now, say if they got up to $47,000 in Bitcoin, I'm making my money back plus some.
Yeah, you're doing okay.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just.
Well, you also took a lot out when you went and bought that last car, didn't you? Didn't you say
you took
out a pretty decent amount?
Yes, I took out 10,000 out of my profit. Out of total profit was substantial, but I did take out 10,000, put it down towards the payment of the Mercedes that I bought.
Yeah.
I was able to do some other things with that money. I'm not going to get into, but yeah, it gave me the ability to do some things that I normally would not have the opportunity to do.
Right.
And that kind of falls back to, the start of the program tonight when I talked about, does money make you happy?
Remember when we were supposed to be talking about a year in review?
Yeah. So, but anyways, we just kind of got this one across our feed on our chat that Barbara Walters has died today.
Yeah. We got another celebrity died.
Yeah. So
who was Barbara Walters again?
She was the journalist.
News journalist. Yeah.
Was it 60 Minutes or no? Was it? I think it was 60. Was it 60 Minutes?
I think I remember seeing her on TV. When I was a kid.
She kind of had her own show thereafter. She gained some notoriety, many years ago.
Sure.
But yeah, that kind of sucks. We lost Betty White. What was it? A year ago tomorrow. That's crazy.
Hey,
that
this is 2022 in review, dude. Don't be bringing up 2021 stuff.
Man, Betty White.
I can't handle that right now. I don't need that drama.
Anyways, going back to crypto, I just
what else we got on the list?
That's pretty much all I had. I just tell people to always be smart with your money. And I know we're kind of going through a recession, one. That's a talking point from CNN, but we are in a recession. We are dealing with some major inflation. Everybody seems to want to quote I just bought a dozen eggs for $7 and yeah, we get it. We're all feeling it, and it's not something that's going to go away anytime soon. So my best advice for, people that are bitching about inflation, get another job or ask for a raise or figure out something else, because right now the prices aren't coming down. And bitching about it, bitching about it is not going to do you any good whatsoever.
You're not going to bitch your way out of it. You're not going to be able to vote your way out of it.
No. It is here to stay, and it's going to be a while.
The best thing you can do is protect your money outside of US dollar.
And it's funny though, is we talked about this 2 years ago.
Yep.
2 years ago, we talked. You even said
I'm still doing the same thing.
You even said, at least stock up on some things. Don't go like hoarder crazy like toilet paper.
Yeah, we still got plenty of stuff.
I go back and I revisit some of those older videos we did from 2 years ago, and I'm like, it's like we kind of saw into the future.
All right,
it's kind of crazy.
Silly Redhead says I bitch about it all the time. Oh well, we'll give Silly Redhead an exception for the rule. She can probably, she's the kind of woman that was probably strong enough to bitch her way out of it. I think
I have to hear it every single day.
Every
Kroger pickup
hurts my feelings when I go try to buy eggs. I'm like, I made some egg fried rice. Hang on, I made some egg fried rice the other day, and I stuck my one egg in the pan because that's what I always start out with, and I'm like, oh, there goes another $16 worth of meal.
Here's the thing: I don't do the grocery shopping, so that's why I don't bitch about it, but I am aware of what's going on.
Yep.
Because I still contribute to the grocery bill. But here's the thing, though:
you definitely consume it.
Oh, shit, yeah, I do.
And the quality of things you're able to consume at this point probably are decreasing, I would imagine.
You would think I would be a lot thinner,
not eat a bunch of ribeyes. Oh, I miss ribeyes.
But it's the latter. It's like I'm still as big as ever, but
and of course 2020 was when I decided to make the transition into working for myself, which that was it was good, but it's not been great financially, but it's okay. I'm working on it.
But you know what? It's still the freedom of doing what it is you want to do.
Oh, it's been great. I'm not complaining about that.
A lot of people would envy what you're doing.
Shoot.
Honestly.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But given the way things are with inflation and so forth, it's I tell people this is just part of the times. I mean, did you honestly think that eggs were ever going to stay at $1.89 a dozen? No. I mean, that's just common sense. I mean,
it also doesn't help that just to give us a little personal insight, not to give too much details, because I may be suing somebody.
I need to talk to you after the show about that.
Yeah, so a guy I was working with or did some work for. We'll just say that
he's a weirdo.
He didn't pay me quite a bit of money, and I started doing the math and trying to figure out what he actually owed me. There's always an excuse, always a reason, always some kind of I don't know. I'm trying not to make it too public or anything. It's the first thing I've said about it.
I would make it public.
Well, not yet. I'm waiting to see if he does the right thing. I want to see if he makes the right move. If he does the right thing and pays up. If he doesn't, then by all means, it's going to be all over the place. But I may have to sue somebody for the first time in small claims court to the tune of like $24,000. So I definitely could have used that money for Christmas.
Yeah, and that sucks for you, dude. I remember you reached out to me, and I kind of feel like I was being a parent towards you more than a friend. But
hey, you said no lies, but it's all good.
I know, but okay, so let me ask you, going into 2023, what are some things that you want to improve on for you?
Oh, want to improve on?
Yeah.
Shoot, bitch, I'm perfect. I don't got nothing.
Well, I knew that. Okay, I guess we're done then.
Yeah, that was it. Thanks for watching.
That's funny. No, I just what are some things that you would like to either business wise, friendship wise, relationship wise? Is there anything that you feel like you want to improve on a little bit, or something about yourself you want to dabble into you've never done before?
Man, I've never done like New Year's resolutions or anything like that.
Not a resolution,
right? I'm just
something.
Let me ramp up here.
Okay.
Hey, I've never done a New Year's resolution or anything like that because I'm just really terrible about like setting up a goal that quickly and going with it.
Right.
In general, everything I do is just kind of a slow build process, slowly forming new habits in place of old bad ones and whatnot. And that's how I'm able to get so much done.
Right.
It's just I think what I'm going to focus on the next year is obviously creating more content for the Unframe of Mind show. Focusing on that. You and I talked about doing a number of different videos and want to do more of the skits and the things we actually enjoy doing.
Right.
And we're going to do more of that. I want to focus on by the end of the year, I'd love to have at least 2, if not 3, storage units where I store furniture. And I've been flipping couches for a while.
Right.
And for a while, it was my kind of a secondary source of income. Mm-hmm. But as it continues to build and I'm realizing where my sticking points are, I'm realizing there's a lot more growth potential there than I first thought in my area. I just have to be willing to drive to go do it. I have to be willing to go, deliver the couches, pick up the couches, clean the couches, fix the couches, picture the couches, post the couches, so on and so forth. It's work. It's still work, but but it pays off a lot better, and it allows me. I've got two rules for my recent endeavors. Any job I take on, any little gig I take on, it's got to meet two rules. It's got to meet two rules, and that is that it has to be where I can do it flexibly. I don't want to be tied to a schedule,
Right.
and there has to be some element of creativity that I can use in it somehow. So
Kind of like your own touch, personal touch to something.
yeah, just some way, because I'm a creative person. I love,
Right.
I get bored as all get out if it's just monotonous, monkey tasks of just repetition.
You're
It's
that
like,
guy that can't sit still.
I can't. Like, I did 10 years of Nissan working
That
manufacturing.
repetition and
Oh my God, it was
mind-numbing
good
and-
money. It did well for my family during the time I needed it, which was great. I have no complaints about the company itself.
Right.
I just can't personally. It's not for me. It's not the work for me.
Right.
As long as I can be creative and I can, have some element of control over my schedule, where I don't like being tied to a schedule. I want to just kind of do whatever I feel like doing, and when I don't feel like doing it anymore, I'll go do something else. It's been great. I literally
got like 50 projects going on around
no,
the house.
I
I
literally today, like, and I get so frustrated when I'm here at the house, and I don't mean to be, and I don't want anybody talking to me while I'm at the house, which is weird. But
I know I bug the shit out of you
while I'm working.
Right.
You're not here during the day. It's a whole different story.
I'm usually asleep during the day.
I want to put in my podcast and just go. Just leave me alone. Don't ask me no questions. Don't bother me. I'm working. Okay.
Right.
So I met, today was something like I went out to fix, we had a leak form in the hose. The pipe popped off the top of my water heater last night. So first thing this morning, I get up, I make my coffee, I go address that because it's just gushing water into the house. I had to fix it. $30 later, fix that. Next thing I know, I'm out there shampooing a couch for a little bit. Not a whole couch, just a part of a couch to see if I can get it clean. Because if I can't get this clean, I'm not going to be able to move forward. Well, I get that done, and I go inside and I pull up the laptop, and I've got a list of changes that need made to a brochure I'm working on for somebody. So I did like 2 of those changes on the list. I got bored with it. I shut the computer, went back outside to check my work on the couch. I worked on that a little bit. Then it's like I just, as soon as I get bored, I go in and do something else, and it keeps me busy. I'm able to accomplish a lot because I keep strict lists of everything I'm supposed to do. So I just go back and reference it. But hell, even in the middle of the day, I'm like, I'm kind of bored with everything. So let's just pull up my video game and play that for 10 minutes, or I think I did like 30 minutes. And I'm back and did some more. It's just nice. I love it, and I want to continue to do more of that.
So that's what you kind of have planned for next year.
Yeah, just more of what I've already been doing.
Okay. Well,
so I know that was a long-winded way of saying that, but yeah, it's just basically that.
No really context in which was going to further that conversation to something different. Okay, moving on.
I don't know what to say about it. I'm enjoying enjoying the path that I'm on right now, and
have you thought about traveling?
I'm going to continue walking down that path.
You don't travel.
I don't travel.
Why?
Usually money. Usually just money.
Well, maybe set up like a goal to look forward to. Maybe go to the beach, or you're too white to go to the beach.
Yeah, I hate the beach. I love mountains. I love anything but yeah.
When go to Lake Tahoe.
Here's the thing. Traveling. I like traveling. I like going out seeing new things. But when you have a family of 6, that becomes a little bit more financially burdensome. If it was just me, or just me and one other person, you and I may have a couple of trips planned for next year.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. It becomes a lot less cost prohibitive to do.
Right.
Same thing with like meal planning and stuff. It's just there's certain meals I would love to have, but if it was just me, I'd have it all the time.
Yeah, but like a small trip to Gatlinburg, though.
Well, the trip to Gatlinburg isn't the cost. Gatlinburg's the cost.
Oh, well, yeah.
That's why we went to Blue Ridge.
Right.
Blue Ridge, I was told, was like Gatlinburg, but much cheaper. And it was beautiful. It didn't cost me an arm and a leg. It just cost me about an arm and a half a leg.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Cool.
What about you? Were you waiting on me to ask about you?
I wasn't going to make it about me, but I was more interested in wanting to know what you plan on doing, because I know you're always all over the place. So it's always fascinating to kind of pick your brain to find out what you got tuning up for next year.
You'd be lucky to have me tell you what I plan on doing tomorrow, let alone what I'm planning on doing next year.
Yeah, that's true. As far as I'm concerned,
half the time I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow until I wake up, drink my coffee, and go over what I have to do, and then I plan my day. That's literally how I've been doing it every day.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know. I hadn't really given that much thought, to be honest. I mean, I kind of like where my life is, and can some things improve? Yes, always. I think there's always room for growth and improvement, but For an overall sense, like where I'm at in my life right now, I'm a pretty happy dude.
Yeah.
Great family and good job, and um, I just want to continue working hard, and anything that I do to, if I'm taking trips or whatever, to share those memories with either friends or family. Um, I think that's important. I think as I'm getting older, I want to share more of my memories with other people.
Right.
I've never really had the opportunity to do much with friends. I'd like to be able to take friends places and do things, and that's something that I'd like to do for next year. Whether it's just a small trip to Gatlinburg, or maybe somewhere a little closer that's more local. Um, yeah, I've always wanted to do something like that. I've always done things with family.
Little local camping trip kind of thing.
Yeah, just maybe get some friends together and just go camping one weekend, or whatever.
Giant bonfire in my backyard or something.
Yeah, so yeah, I've done that. Been there, got the t-shirt. But
they were selling t-shirts at my backyard barbecue.
Yeah.
What?
I got with Chase about it. He hooked me up.
I didn't even get one.
No, I just,
man,
that's something different I want to do with my life. I want to have those experiences, share in those experiences, and take people places and do things. And I have been blessed, so to speak, to be in positions um, to contribute to things that people can be a part of, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I want to continue doing that.
No, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
I need you to explain it to me like I'm 6.
Okay. I can't do that. No, I'm not going to. But no, and like I said, I think just I need to be better about responding back to people. I have been so bad about that this year. Like people will text me.
You've been working too damn much. Like, how are you supposed to?
People text me, right? And if I'm at work, that's one thing. Like I will get back to you when I can. But my problem is on my days off, I'm so focused on wanting to sleep and not do shit that when people text me, it's like I had people over Christmas who legitimately wished me a Merry Christmas, and I never text them back.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like a couple days later, and I felt bad. Like I genuinely felt bad. I did not respond back to people. I got to be better about calling people back and responding back to texts. I don't know why that's changed with me. I don't know what's happened or why I've become, kind of complacent with that, but I don't know. Maybe as I'm getting older, I just don't want to deal with people. I don't know. It's not intentional. I don't mean to be rude or not to respond back to people. I don't know why I'm doing it.
I don't know that I don't know. I don't think you're being rude. I think you're just like overwhelmed. You've been working insane hours. Like,
it's been crazy.
So when you finally do get a moment, I totally get it. I totally get it. If people are wishing you Merry Christmas and not receiving a text back, and they're getting upset about it.
No, it's not they're getting upset. It's me. It's me.
You just feel this guilt for some reason.
Well, because I'm usually pretty good about responding back to people. Yeah. I've been on the receiving end of that where I've wished people Merry Christmas, but I don't hear back. You know what I'm saying? So it's
shoot. Sorry.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Asshole.
Merry Christmas, Anthony.
Because here's the thing though, is for so long I have preached to other people, especially on. Don't text me. That you're such an asshole.
Too late.
There it is. My phone just vibrated.
It may have sent already.
It did.
Yeah, I better get a response back before 2 days from now. Okay.
Okay. I wish you a Merry New Year here in the next couple of days, but. No, I've been on the show before preaching to people that it doesn't take but a second to reach out to someone to see how they're doing. And now I'm on the other end of that where I'm being the person who's not, responding back to people. And I just kind of feel shitty for it.
I hear you. So Puddin asked where we're going.
We could always, hey, you know what? Me and you, we'll load up the cars and we'll go out there and we'll visit them for a few days.
Hell.
Why not?
I need to get a picture with that little alien she's got. She's always taking pictures of that little alien dude.
I mean, I would do it.
Yeah.
Set up a few days to go out there and I think she's North Carolina is where she's at. I can't remember where she's at.
It's not terribly far away. It's not terribly far away.
No, I mean I'd take
don't be doxing the poor girl on
that's the state
live stream.
It's not like she's on
Good Lord.
1534 Elm Hill Pike or something
like
that. But
that's my address.
But no, I just so that's the main thing I want to work on is just being better about responding back to people. So
Well,
Nothing major.
well, for the following year, we're gonna have a number of shows coming up. We need to build this up bigger. You know, we really do.
We
I
say
feel
it every year.
we say it every year, and we have a plan for next year, and we're gonna try to implement that plan and see if that actually works.
It just depends on our schedules as well. You know how that goes. So.
Yeah, I hear the excuses already.
Not an excuse, just the reality of it. So.
Yeah, no, I totally get it.
But, all right. Well, that's pretty much it for me, man. Unless you got anything else to cover or discuss, I think we're pretty much going to wrap it up for 2022, and we'll see each other next year.
See you next year.
All right, guys. Stay safe.
You guys been watching the Unframe of Mind show, where we have uncomfortable conversations without a condom. I've been your host, Daniel Wagner.
Anthony Trawick.
And we'll Happy New Year and whatnot and stuff.
Merry New Year.
Merry New Year.